All right. I believe we are live. Yes, we got some likes, so I believe we are live. All right.
Okay.
Good evening, Indianapolis moms. I'm Kate. I'm the owner of Indianapolis Moms, and I'm really excited to have our contributor Paula here with us tonight. And what we're going to talk about is kind of just the basics of homeschool, answer questions that you may have. But before we get started, Paula, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and tell everybody who you are and just a little bit about your family.
Okay. My name is Paula, and I am a mom of three. I have two girls and a boy. What else? 5, 3, and 10 months. I kind of lost track during this COVID time, of course. And then he grows so fast. And that's pretty much it. I used to work from home. I used to teach. I used to teach in Chicago, and then also I taught here in Indianapolis. So I've been teaching since 2007, and then I came home. I worked from home part time, and then now I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Awesome. So let's just jump right into it. So Paula, like you said, you were a former teacher.
Yes.
I also was a former teacher.
Okay.
And now for you are homeschooling two of your kiddos, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So will you just kind of share, like what exactly is homeschool? When you hear homeschooling, just what is it? Just kind of explain.
Well, for me, I would define homeschool as me, the parent, my husband, and I taking sole ownership, being totally responsible for our child's pretty much educational and character development. We develop them, of course, their mental development. We think about their emotional development, spiritual, and of course, physical. And I believe that schooling, one part of that is making sure that whatever curriculum I choose or however I teach my child is specific to my child. So I think it's more of an individualized approach versus the standardized approach you might get in the public school. Mm-hmm.
All right, that makes sense. So one thing, right now we have tons of options. There's lots of situations that are happening. But one thing I really want you to differentiate is explain the difference between what homeschool is and then what virtual learning is, because those are completely different.
Yes.
Virtual, like what the school offers as far as virtual learning compared to what your experience is as homeschool. Can you kind of differentiate between the two for us?
Yes. So, I mean, also they have hybrid schools, micro schools. It's like so many different terms that I put out there that I've been seeing that are very new to me. But in my opinion, I believe virtual schools is basically just online, when online teachers manage the students' studies. So they give you the structured curriculum. And the parent is typically called a coach. And the child is still a part of that educational system. And you tend to have more flexibility, of course, than you would have if you actually drove your child to school or put your child on the bus to school every day. That's what basically virtual school is. It allows parents to be involved more as a coach versus you choosing your own curriculum for your child.
Okay.
And of course, like I said, homeschooling is all responsibility and all that is up to the parent. Everything is totally on us. So.
Right. So that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, people say, oh, I'm homeschooling my child. Well, there's a difference because virtual schooling, like you said, the curriculum is already provided for you. There's really no planning on your part. There's, I just think of it as a teacher, there's just a realm of so much that is put in behind the scenes that you don't really see,
definitely.
So I think people need to understand that, virtual school is a great way to go if you want to work from home and still focus on the curriculum at the school.
Yes,
correct.
It is. Yes.
And then homeschool, you can choose the curriculum that you want taught with your family.
Yes, you basically you like to say choose a curriculum or just choosing what it is what you want to focus on.
Okay.
So of course many times people homeschool for religious reasons. So your focus may be like, Bible and the character development part,
Hmm.
or you have a lot of some people who just choose for real, just go to opposite secular reasons. And they might have like different like nature studies and, whatever they value in their home. That's pretty much what your focus is. And you choose your curriculum or your path of education based on that.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
So let's say we have families that are interested in getting started. And I'm going to say real quick before I jump in, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them on here, and we will, if we don't get to them during this, we will jump on and answer them afterwards. So
Mhm.
if somebody's interested in getting started, what do you suggest, what resources do you suggest they go to, or how does that even, how could one even go ahead and start thinking about homeschool?
Well, okay, so I would say first, obviously we're in Indiana, but for any person in any state, we will want to go to find out your state laws
Okay.
because, the laws vary from state to state. We are lucky to have very, I don't want to say lenient, but pretty much state laws. We're required here in Indiana 180 days of education, just like the regular school. And then we're also required to start schooling by the age of 7. And
Okay.
that's public school, period. So I don't know if many people even know that preschool isn't mandatory. Kindergarten, you don't have to start your child at 5. You can start them at 7, and that's totally okay. And but a lot of people do not know that. So I
That's
would first
interesting.
say
Yeah.
know the law in your state, and then also just knowing your why. So a lot of parents have been pushed to homeschool because of COVID, because of just the pandemic and the state of the world right now. And if that's your reason why, then that's perfectly fine.
Hmm.
Um, if your reason why is, like I said, spiritual reasons or just whatever it is, I would say start with the law and then start with knowing your why, because your why will guide you through the rest of your path. It will guide you through your curriculum choice. It will guide you through where. It will guide you through when and all of that. So I would say know your why. And then this may seem obvious, but who, I'm just going to do the who, what, when, where, how, the basic,
Perfect.
as a teacher, that's just how I
Yeah.
still have that in my mind. Um, so the who is basically your child, getting to know who they are. Like even though my children are young, but because I have an education background, I just felt like, I'm at home. What else should I do besides teaching them
Right.
something? Um, and so I just jumped into something. And I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't really pay attention all that much to like who my child was. She loved to read. She loved to listen to us read. She's a thinker, but I didn't really use that to guide how I was going to teach her. So I had to step back and look and watch the toys that she plays with. Like what does she gravitate
Mhm.
towards? So I needed to get to know who my child was, her likes, her dislikes. I even went as far as taking toys away and see what toys she asked for, which toys was she missing. And I that was how. So I learned her, and I also had to learn myself because I came from teaching in the classroom, which is for me is completely different than
Mhm.
teaching these like my two at home. It's like night and day. So I also had to put myself in that who, figuring out like my style, my strengths and my weaknesses. Well, we don't want to say weaknesses, but just like I'm not a math person. So I know that I was not going to teach her math. My husband, he does his thing. He's here, and I didn't want to put the schooling necessarily on him. He helps, but I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I need to find a math curriculum because I don't do math.
Yeah,
So,
I feel
so I
that.
had to say that for myself. And then once you know who, and then that leads you to your what curriculum you would choose based on your child's learning style or their talents, their gifts, whatever it is that they enjoy. Are they inside kids? Are they outdoor kids? Because like I would not do a nature study with my child. I do not like being outside that much. The summer heat in the afternoon, I'm not for that. I will go outside in the morning time and later in the evening. I need that cool breeze across my face, but don't, so that's not me. Um, so like I said, that you know your what, and then you will move to your when, which is 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week. And that goes along with your how. I think your when and your how are connected. And some people do year round, some people do rotating schedules, 6 weeks on, two off, 6 weeks on, one off. However it works, it works for your family. And that's the thing for me. I would say this is the thing to remember is whatever is best for your family. Figure out
Okay.
your family needs. How, if we are homeschooling or if someone chooses to homeschool because of COVID, and then you have one parent who works evening shift and one who works morning, you have to decide. You don't want to put, the one who's sleeping, you don't want them awake to teach, So
Mm-hmm.
figure out what time works. And another thing is remembering that it doesn't take the 6 hours, 8 hours, however long a child is in school. Like that is like we know that as educators,
Yes.
you don't have to do that. That would be so intense. Can you imagine like your
No.
child sitting on the computer for 5 hours? No.
No. And I'll be honest, that is one of my fears about virtual learning
Mhm,
is sitting my child in front of a computer. Is that how it's going to
yeah.
be? Are they going to be in front of a computer? So homeschooling is something that I have considered, especially with my
Mhm.
education background. So I appreciate hearing and learning from you because, like you said, I'm afraid of my child sitting in front of that screen for 6 hours a day,
Yes. Yes. And I've actually seen some of the schedules and some schools are requiring that. But if but there are some virtual schools. So there was a point where I was going to send my daughter, my oldest, to a virtual school. I was thinking
Mhm.
about that last year, and I actually looked in to see how long they had to be on a computer, and they were just asking you to clock in your time. So as
Okay.
long as you watched your lesson, that was fine. And then like they wanted you to clock in a time for your PE, your art, and whatever electives you chose. So she
Okay.
wasn't, I think for kindergarten, they asked, I would say maybe 3 to 4 hours. I can't remember, but personally for me, that's still a lot
Yes.
of in front, of the screen because I can't even
Mhm.
sit for
So
three
is
to
that
four
per
hours.
day? Like per day? That's what
It
they
was
would.
per day for this particular school.
Okay.
Yes, it was per day. Um,
So
and the
as
only
far
reason, oh, I'm sorry,
no,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the only reason I opted out of that is because I just had to trust myself and say, "Hey, I can do this." She's just in kindergarten, like
Yes,
I can handle, like I won't mess her up. So
exactly.
yeah.
So as far as the schedule goes, I remember you shared with our team that really cool graphic about what is recommended
Oh yeah.
per hour, which, maybe I'll post that in the comments so people can see that. But what does a
Okay.
typical like homeschool schedule look like for you, for your family?
Okay. So because again, I have I don't really know what to say. She's in kindergarten, first grade. I don't really know because she knows how to read. She's just in school. I'm just teaching her. Okay. Um, so basically for her, we have our core subjects. And first let me say my husband starts my morning. I
Okay.
have, like I said, I have a 10-month-old. Typically we're still asleep. Or just waking up. My daughters are early risers, and I am so not a morning person. So he does breakfast. He's great. He does the breakfast. He makes sure they get ready, most of the time. And so he starts the day for them. And then I just come in and I have my breakfast. And then it's probably around 9 o'clock around that time. They play for a bit. And then we just kind of do, I just, for my preschooler is what I'm calling her. She loves play. Her language is play. That's all she ever wants to do. So I'll probably have a total of 10 minutes of good time with her. If I push it to 15, it's like, oh, mommy, so it's just 10 minutes with her. We just go over letter sounds. I might have some flashcards with some words, her sight words. And with her, since she likes to move, I just make up random songs and we just do
I love
random
that.
things. We random songs for handwriting and all that. So she's about 10 to 15 minutes for reading. And then math, it is a little bit longer. She actually likes the math curriculum that we do because it comes with blocks and things, so she gets to use that. So in total for her, we probably spend about, I would say, no more than 45 minutes total
Okay.
for her. And that's reading, math, and just whatever else we might do. I call it like we might do ballet, but it's pretty much them doing ballet on, with a YouTube video, or
Yeah.
they art with a YouTube video, And then for my oldest, she it's more of an hour because we do read aloud, and then she still does her lesson, but it's not a straight hour. So it might be 30 minutes of reading and then maybe like 30 minutes of math for her. And then our day is done. I want to be done by noon, or if not noon, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And the reason why it might go to one is depending again on my son, because most of the time he's sitting there eating, trying to eat crayons, trying to eat paper. Just I'm just like, oh, so I'm constantly moving him out
Uh-huh.
the way.
Yep.
So
Okay. I mean,
yeah,
I think that sounds so reasonable. We do have a
yeah.
couple questions. So
Okay, I
Sierra is
can see it now.
curious, did you see, where do you find the homeschool curriculum? Like, where's a good place to go?
Okay, I I start off with, because I come from public education, I just literally have Googled free homeschool literacy curriculum, free homeschool
Okay.
curriculum. And but it's not like, yeah, I just do that. And they have so many resources. They have like Sunlight. I think it has a lot of different curriculums. I'm trying to scroll through my um, I know you can use like Easy Peasy. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. There's a Hubbard Schooling. There's so many different like free resources that you can use. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you literally just type in like language arts curriculum for first grade or language arts curriculum for fifth grade, something will come up for you. But before you choose a curriculum, again, make sure you know your child, because you can spend $300 on something and hate it. And there's so many people who do that,
That's
and
a
that, I
good
mean,
tip.
yeah, it's okay, I guess, if you have $300 to do that. But I won't.
I wouldn't either. I mean, that's a bummer. And I think
Yeah,
people need to think too, as far as schooling, you want your child to enjoy the experience too.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
oh, someone posted, do you see there's a good website right here. So if
Oh,
anybody wants
yes,
to, there's
yes.
some good resources right there. Um,
IAHE.net, yes.
so as far as socialization, that was another question. What are
Mm-hmm.
some ways or things that you do with your family to, I mean, especially now, safely socializing, but even I guess
Yeah.
before, what were some things that families can do to socialize with their kids since they won't be around the classroom atmosphere?
Yeah, we were at the zoo, we were at the museum all day. We were play dates at friends' houses like that. I mean, it was something that we were doing weekly, sometimes twice a week. Um, and those were our typical places, the places that we really can't go now.
I
And then,
know.
of course, like for us, church was an option. We were at church Sunday, so the kids had the opportunity in the nursery, and just getting together with different families. My family is in Chicago, so I consider all of that socializing,
Mhm.
because you're connecting and interacting with people. Um, and I mean, that's basically what socializing is, right? Teaching your kids how to have manners and fit into society, basically, and
Yes.
behave.
And be
So, but yeah, basically, not be rude to people. Um, but now it's actually been a struggle just to think creative, to think outside the box on what to do. But anything that we do, we make sure, of course, that we have our mask and that we are physical distance. Except for one thing that we have been doing a lot of is riding bikes. I feel
that's
like you can, because you're just right past each other. Um, and then that still kind of allows the families or the parents, like, we can kind of still be in the same space, have our mask on, and we're outside. So, they're saying like the best places to be is outside. And we've actually gone to the zoo with the family, and this is the family within our bubble. So we do have a bubble.
Mhm.
Um, and in our bubble, we are totally honest and open about where we've been. And if we've gone somewhere or done something that was out of our ordinary, we share the information with each other. So that would be my suggestion. Just finding your bubble, riding bikes together, being outside. I'm not sure. Can we go to playgrounds yet? I don't know if that's the option.
I think playgrounds are open.
Okay.
Because it's, what are we, stage 4.5, I believe. But
Okay.
playgrounds are open.
Okay.
Is now, I don't know if you've heard, but there's a group. It's called Hike It Baby. Have you
Oh.
heard of them? It's like an
Oh,
outdoor
hike it.
hike,
Hiked. Okay. No.
like hiking outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an outdoor group of people and parents that will go and actually find trails, and they all go
Okay.
walk. And I believe it's free right now, but I think
Okay.
that's also, that would be great. But like you said, like the bubble, like right now, kind of your quarantine, I guess you would call them,
Yeah.
staying with them. But are there certain, I know maybe pre-pandemic, were there businesses that have homeschool hours? Like I feel like Sky Zone
Yes.
had like homeschool hours where people could come and do, like, do all the bouncing and everything for
Mhm.
special price or,
Mhm.
okay.
Yes. So like even the museum has homeschooling. I didn't know this until like maybe February that they had special classes and things like that for homeschoolers. The Otto George Museum, they all have, I won't say they all, but there's a lot of places. The arts, well, I forget what it's I forget what's the art museum we have here. It just left my mind.
Like Newfields,
Um, yes,
Newfields area.
Newfields.
Yep.
Yes. They have special things for homeschooling, and also it's another place I can't think of, but I'll have to share that with you. But yes, they have special events for homeschool, and then the library.
Oh
The
yeah.
library
Yes.
has, I mean, they have special story times and special events. I know my daughters went to a ballet event
Oh,
last
cool.
year for a special story time through the library. And the
That's
library is a great resource too. You can find a whole curriculum at some of our libraries also.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Like
I didn't even
Cook
think
Don't
about
Find It
that.
is
Oh
at our
yeah.
library.
Okay.
The Bob books is at our library as well. Yeah. So
That's good. Do those get checked out pretty quickly though? Do you know?
actually no, but I feel like now that I'm saying it,
I'm
they
going
will.
to.
So and I've been checking them out like every week. So
No, just kidding.
same
They're
as
not
how,
there.
but
They're
yeah,
not
they're not there. Yeah, don't check the library on this side of town. So.
there. So someone wants some input for self-care for homeschool moms. Any tips? What about you? How do you take care of yourself being
Oh
home,
goodness. Just as a mom, isn't it so challenging for us just to remember to put ourselves first sometimes? And in our day, I used to be really good with this. Well, we would have a quiet time. I would send the girls to the room. Alexa pretty much would handle them for a couple of hours. So I'll put on a story. Oh, she just came on. Sorry about that. I don't know if you heard it. But I would just put on music and just have a moment because I'm also an introvert. And so talking constantly and being pulled on and tugged at just drains me.
Mhm.
So it was important. That's why I say I was either done by noon or 1 because I needed a couple of hours to myself. So I actually we created a routine, trained my girls to say, hey, we have lunch. We go up. You all go upstairs. You say, "Hey, Alexa, do this," and it's on for like an hour and a half. And that was my way of having that moment of self care. So whatever I chose to do within my hour, 2 hours, whether it was read, just sit and just stare at the wall, whatever it was, just breathe.
Yes.
Yeah, I just did that. So that's one way. And then also at night, like our night routine, I have drastically changed that. We have dinner at like 4:30 in our house.
Oh
Some
wow.
people think it's yeah. So between 4:30 and 5, we are at the table. We are eating because my daughter eats like she loves to talk. Okay. So it can take her a good hour and a half to eat. So dinner is normally over by 6, and then I send them upstairs. So between 6 and 6:30, or 6:30 and 7, depending if they help like with kitchen or whatever. I'm to myself again because because I'm like nighttime. I have a baby again. I want to pay attention to my husband because I actually like him. So I need that time again to calm down from just a day. So that's just how I right now, especially during this time, because I can't always get out the house.
Right.
That's how I've been doing self care. And then I know we're coming on the winter, and we don't know how that's going to look. With the
I know.
weather. So
Mhm.
I try to make sure I find some way of self-care or taking it within my own home. So I don't always have to, because if I don't get the opportunity to leave out, then I feel like, where's my me time? So I have
Yes.
to find my space in my home because this is my home. So
Well, and I
yeah.
think that's important that you said like me time and not
Hmm.
feel guilty about it because
Oh yeah.
mom guilt it's real, but
It is so
finding
real.
time for yourself. Like
Yes.
I still, if I have my youngest, I'm still like, it's quiet time. She's almost 5 and I'm like, I need that. I love you,
Hmm.
but I am just I need to get it back together or
Yes.
it's not going to be good, mommy.
No, someone told me to say to refer to yourself in third person. So tell your kids, hey, Paula needs her time. Like we're not mommy right now. This is Paula. Paula needs her
Oh,
time right now. And even tell the husband, Paula, not the wife, needs her time right now. So yeah. I
that's good.
mean they laugh at me when I say that. Like, who's Paula? Like, oh goodness.
Right
Okay.
here.
Yeah. I don't want to lose me. I don't want to lose Paula.
That's smart. Yes. So I guess before we wrap things up, um, anything else you want to touch on or just kind of share that you think is valuable or just helpful?
I think just reminding, everyone and even myself that if you do choose to homeschool, again, I think I said this earlier, like you really cannot mess up your kids. We know our children. We are the best advocates. We are the best. We are the first teachers, actually. Because we are teaching them before they even go to school. We're teaching them how to respond to their their teacher if you choose to send them to an actual building. So you already are a teacher to your child. I'm already a teacher to my child. And the only extra part is just driving their education. And there's so many resources out there. So I just want to just remind anybody or tell anybody who's thinking about it, who's sitting on the fence and who's thinking like they can't do it, you can do it. Because I say if I can do it with all my introvertness and my needing my space and don't like to be touched and like all of that, if I can do it, I know that pretty much anybody can. And it doesn't matter whether you have a PhD or just a high school diploma. You just have a desire. I feel like a lot of us, if we just have that desire to just want to love on our kids in that way, then we can do it.
Yes,
So,
I love that.
mhm.
So any other resources if we talk about after, I'll just make sure we throw them into the
Okay.
comments so people can come back and look. And if you have any other questions, feel free to throw them on here. I see a couple on here. If we didn't get to them, I see someone say, our school said the DOE said we needed to still have a full day of virtual learning in a virtual classroom every day. So 9 to 4 with a 1 hour break for the kids to have lunch and stretch their legs, even in kindergarten. Is this true? Common for most schools?
Well,
I don't know. I don't know. Like, especially right now, like, I don't know. I think all districts are kind of doing things
their own
differently.
thing. Yeah, they're all doing their own thing, have their own requirements. I like because I am for homeschool. I'm not against public school. I'm not against private school. I sometimes I still want to go back into the classroom. I have a desire because I just love teaching. But I do want to just say that it does not require all of that because we know as in the classroom, a lot of our time is dealing with classroom management and then bathroom breaks, which supposed to be 15 minutes, but go in half an hour. So it's just like all the
Yep.
extra that is just put into a day there in the building is not the same at home. So is that common for most schools? It's hard to say, but because you're still dealing with the standardized education, then we will find those stipulations put onto parents who are choosing to school at home.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So again, just keep in mind, I think the big thing I really wanted to get out to was the difference kind of between homeschool and virtual learning, which I feel like you did such a great job. And like you said, you don't have to have a teaching degree to be a homeschool teacher. It just has to be a passion. And the big thing is, like you said, to know your child. And I think that will help guide your instruction. So
Oh, one more thing, Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Obviously, there's so many Facebook groups for homeschooling. If you just, for Indiana, if you want just anything, any type of, you can look up, search homeschooling, like for nature lovers, homeschooling for whatever, like anything really. There's a group for on Facebook. So I will also say connect on Facebook.
Good.
With someone.
Do you
we have
have
a lot of
any
co-ops
groups
here.
Do you have like any?
I do. I should have had this prepared, huh?
That's okay. We can honestly, we'll just post those in the comments. You can just send the
Okay.
links, or you can just post them directly in the comments. I think that's probably easier, and then people can just connect, click and connect on them that way too.
Okay. Because there are a lot of like groups for curriculums as well. So
Okay.
that's a lot of the ones that I'm a part of those groups just to see, just trying to get an insight on how what the curriculum is like and things like that before I purchase. So
That
that's
makes
something
sense.
that I do as well.
That makes sense too.
Mhm.
Yes. So
And I'll be sure to send you that information
yeah,
for the groups.
yeah, I think that'd be really helpful.
Okay.
So again, if anybody has any questions, let us know, and feel free to continue to post in these comments. And then Paula will put some groups and links in the comments for you too. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. But Paula, thank you so much. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
It was really great to hear your experience, especially the fact that you were a teacher and then you transitioned to homeschool. I think that's a really unique perspective too. So
thank you. And I just want to emphasize again, that does not make it any easier for me. It actually, I feel like made it, I don't want to say worse, but my mind is all over the place all the time. And I
yeah,
have to bring it in, like, no, focus on this, so.
yes, I get that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
Okay.
much. Have a great night, Indianapolis moms.
Yes.